Oh, hello, dear. There you are again. Goodness, how is he? Did he say why he hasn't returned yet?
He's fine, ma'am. As we had suspected, he couldn't get back earlier because the water lock on the canal was broken. Now he's just finishing up some work.
Oh, yes. That's my Morel. He's bound to catch a cold staying out there for so long, but I am so relieved to hear that he's okay. Thank you for putting...
You haven't, however. There are dangers out there. Our aging body's foul. Her heart won't rest until Morel is safely back with her.
Oh, you don't want to hear about some old woman's ramblings.
Reflexively, the lieutenant read his familiar.
Well, it was summer. I was building a racing track out of sand on the beach near a tall stand of reeds. Quite a tall one. Many times my height, I remember. When, all of a sudden... I'm getting ahead of myself. I was 5.5 in Betancourt in the suburbs. My grandmother had a summer home there.
She'd just started forming memories. Real memories. Not the billowy haze of infanthood.
The strangest moment of my life. I looked up and one of the reeds moved. Not like a plant, but like a living thing. It stood up and looked at me. Its body unfolded like some antique toy. I didn't know this can happen, so I reached my arm and touched the thing. It felt just like a stalk of reed, but it moved, swaying, towering above me. After a while, 20 seconds, a minute maybe, it left. I tried, but I was only a child. There was mud and high water. I couldn't see it anymore. I was just standing there knee-deep in mud, looking around me. I ran back home to my grandmother and asked her if reeds could walk, and told her they were looking at me. Of course, she just laughed at me, but I knew what I'd seen. For years, it was a story I told at parties when I wanted to impress boys, that sort of thing. Of course, most people just took it as a strange, amusing anecdote. So did I, honestly. But then we were on our first date when I told him my story. You should have seen his face. He said my descriptions matched the phasmid down to a T. Its white marble limbs, the way it moved.
So that's how they met. This is beyond significant for them.
Our first, yes.
The sigh is tender. The sigh is tender, yes, but tempered by something else. A thought she can't express. Interesting.
Not all of them, as far as I remember. Some of them, on the inside like stalks of marble, if that makes sense. It's hard to say how big things are when you're quite small yourself. To me, it seemed to be taller than I was then, but that's probably not the case.
What if it is the case?
I thought it was a wonderful story, man.
But I don't believe it. A child left unattended on a warm day. Children make up stories and then end up believing them.
You're welcome, sweetie. I do appreciate...
And she could get up and walk right into the reeds on her own, into the mud, anywhere. This medicine cabinet is stocked with drugs, plus the same small, heavy door. No lock in sight. The same small, heavy door. No lock in sight. You kick it. Gun. The same small, heavy door. No lock in sight. The same small, heavy door. No lock in sight. You kick it. Gung.
It's always good to see you.
Something in her demeanor has changed. She's tired, consigned to her fate, to being here with you and what's to come.
I understand. I know. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. For all of this, for wasting your time.
This is good. Clear the air first, between you two. Then move on to questions. No, it's not good. It's the opposite of that. This will let her dictate the terms of your... Shush, I can't hear what she's saying.
Why did you waste our time then?
Because of the Hardys. I couldn't just dispense with them. They were only trying to help me. Out of the shit I'd gotten into. You're right. There's more. You answer to the coalition government, and by extension, the moral intern.
Briefly glance it over her shoulder to the sea, as she's done time and time again. A grand expanse of water reaches over the bay and to the horizon, golden grey in the noonlight. The Pearl, the Muindi Isola, the Occident, and then Oranje. The old, old world.
You share a database with them. You send people to their courts. I wish it did, but sadly, no. I have people after me, and they have friends in the moral intern. Some are moral intern. If I show up in your records, officer, they will find me. They will.
What happens if they do?
They will kill me, sir. If you file my name, take me in for questioning, enter me into the moral intern mill, well, then I'm fucked. For nothing. This murder didn't have anything to do with me.
Here we go. For once, you seem to have her off guard. Actually, this murder did have a little to do with her.
It's not nice, but it's not illegal. Not here in Ravishol, or even in Oranje.
What exactly did you do?
Industrial espionage. I joined a business collective with the intention of betraying them. I did my job well enough to be asked to do it again. With a bigger company. The kind you really, really don't fuck with. I took their ledgers, 2 decades worth of accounting.
I need the names of the companies involved and who hired you.
The job was Louisduin County Savings Bank. They sound small, but they're part of the Louis-Scop conglomerate. That was the second job. The first was some printer company. You wouldn't know them.
But she really destroyed them. She still feels it.
As to who hired me for the job, I don't know. But they're after me too, along with Louis-Scop and their friends in the MI. Once you're done in the competitive intelligence circuit, you don't have allies. You're radioactive.
Lowe's Cap. These people engineer financial disasters in second world countries. The conglomerate also includes the Bank of Consecration, Airberg, and the popular Papalolo line of dairy products.
I am a destroyer. People lost their jobs. Good people. Not just C-suite assholes. And the way I got into accounting. A lot of people got hurt. But that's just more of my shit you shouldn't have to deal with. You're solving a murder.
That can wait. Look into her eyes. There's more.
One of them killed themselves because of me.
She says it quickly, like she said it 100 times, to herself to get used to the idea, out of guilt.
How do you deal with anything? It's all just... How do you do it? There you have it. The way of the warrior. We were there. Together. In bed, I mean. Okay. He was in a kneeling position. He had just entered me. I was on my back, looking at him. I heard the window behind me shatter, and I turned to look. There was a hole in the glass. I turned back to him. His eyes were looking through me, and his mouth was open, dumb. I could see. I could.
Her chest rises and falls with each word. She keeps herself together.
I knew he was dead before he fell down on top of me. He was heavy. I pushed him off and he fell to the floor. There. He only had his boots on. I bit the pillow, not to scream, then ran downstairs. I waited for the second shot to come. For me. I thought there would be one.
She's forgotten about her cigarette. The butt has burned right down to her fingernails.
Oh. So am I.
What time was this? When did it happen? It would help us if you could be as precise.
11:30 to 12:15. I don't know the exact time. Around midnight.
It's okay. Were you inebriated?
Not as much as usual. He'd done a line, plus other things. I was drinking.
Wait. Titus said she was gurning her jaw off, much more than usual.
Oh, yeah. I did one of his lines, just to clear my head.
Did you hear or see the shooter in the course of this?
No. Nothing. I was trapped. I was stuck in my room downstairs. I got some clothes on and crawled back up, drew the blinds. Blood was coming from his mouth. He was still on the floor, slouched. I couldn't be there with him anymore. So I ran down and out of my room, into the hallway, down the stairs. I knew that.
Run, woman. Run past them and out into the streets where it's dark and people move. To the lorries at the intersection, as far as you can.
I already ran. I ran from an entire Isola. I can't run any further. Not with these people. This is as far as it gets. Sylvie was tending the bar. A lot of people were there. The Hardys were at the table in front of the stage. I think the Union box was full. Ruby was there too. They were having such a good time. I sat down and they all welcomed me. I didn't even have to say anything. Ruby knew something was wrong.
Ruby?
Ruby. You know, the leader.
The leader? Of what?
The Hardy Boys. Well, nominally, yes. Ruby's the one they go to when things happen, like things they need taken care of. She's the organizer.
Would you say she is the 8th Hardy Boy?
Why not?
Does she also party with Ruby, however?
No.
Still, there is something there. She won't tell you now.
Well, Ruby said let's talk upstairs. I showed her the room. I've known these people since December. They know my situation, that I can't leave a paper trail. Ruby was the first one I told. She said she'd take care of this. It's what she does, you know, take care of things. I helped her get the body to the bathroom. We used a belt to pull him up under the shower, to keep him upright.
To mislead you, they were tampering with the body.
To produce lividity, matching a hanging?
Yes.
We completely missed the tampering. Looks like you got there in time. What was this, 20 minutes after death?
About 20, yes. Ruby explained it would make the blood... You know what he does. Ruby went outside to talk to Titus and the boys. I was just looking at Lely in the bathroom. I had to put his clothes back on. His armor, too. It was tough, but I've seen him take it off and put it on many times. It took Ruby maybe half an hour to come back with Titus. I'd gotten him ready by then. They carried him out. I knew what they were going to do, make it look like a hanging. Ruby said they would. Ruby said to wait here. She also said I wouldn't see her for a while, that we should lay low or something, so I did. I don't know. I haven't seen her since.
We will need to take this question to the Hardy Boys.
Interesting. Why did this Ruby go through so much trouble to hide something someone else did? What are you doing? Coming up with a theory. She said Ruby knew something was wrong before she said anything. How come? It was loud downstairs. She couldn't have heard the shot. It is ominous. You already coming up with theories that put the blame on someone other than Clausia.
When he was shot? I may have. I don't know. I couldn't hear anything over the glass exploding.
The gunshot wasn't that loud. This is something to keep in mind when assessing the distance of the shot.
What? Why would I put myself through this? Insanity. Get myself cornered like this. He wouldn't have died if it weren't for me. I know that. But I would never hurt him.
It could have been a desire murder. Maybe an act of jealousy. He was a serviceman. He must have had a gun lying around, close to her hand. A military weapon using jacketed ammunition. Now you guys suddenly have theories pouring out, when they're obviously just stabs in the dark.
No. I specifically asked him not to carry firearms when he was with me. He only had his stupid armor. I don't know. His friends have rifles. Maybe those psychos did it? Coalition military have rifles. I'm not a munitions expert, and I did not shoot him. Like what? That's the first thing that went through my head when I heard the glass break. I thought they'd found me. They've killed him to punish me. All last week, I've tried not to talk to anyone or be seen with anyone so they wouldn't be hurt. I've come to understand, however, this is paranoia. What happened didn't have anything to do with me.
We can't go after Loose Cap. Not yet. There are other, saner leads.
I don't ask you to, Lieutenant. If there's one thing I know, it's that you'll get nothing from there. Because I'm an idiot.
Which is an indicator of truth. Idiot. She's nothing of the sort.
You have to understand, the people around here, no one was making the call, and he kept rotting. And then they picked his clothes off, and that little fucker, he kept throwing stones at him for 3 days. I could hear the thud, thud. So I called you. I hope with all my heart it's not the last.
She definitely called the cops. That was task complete. It could not have been a lie. That is impossible. Oh God, that was a lie too. Who made the call then? She did, of course. Don't be paranoid, man. It's unbecoming of a police officer, and it makes you sweat.
Last week, Angus and Titus's brother, I think he's called Tibbs, took care of it.
You should have another look at that window after this. Reconstruct the scene. It's right there. Yes, you see the glass sparkling out of the corner of your eye. She nods silently. She doesn't even smoke. Just picks up. He's thinking, are we done here? Or should we arrest her? She's a flight risk and she lied to you. She should be taken into... No, that won't be necessary. Just leave her alone. She's been through enough. She doesn't need this police brutality. This guy won't budge. You have to wake Multiface up, forcefully, if you want to continue pushing her.